Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, presented by Stakes. We are previewing Saturday's game between Arizona and Tennessee. This one on the campus of Arizona. Blake, you've got the number one team in Ken Pomeroy's adjusted defensive efficiency facing the number one team in Ken Pom's adjusted offensive efficiency. Boy, this is going to be fun to see which side wins out here.
Yeah, I think two teams that I think will want this game to be played out in a different manner in terms of, one I think would certainly like to see the pace pushed quite a bit in terms of Arizona and how they play their offense, just kind of what you expect under Tommy Lloyd. And Tennessee, I think, will want a much more grinded out type game that will rely on their defense more than their offense because their offense has not been great still.
No.
And, Maryland game, they're able to hang on and win that one 56-53, but it came they shot 20. I don't know how they won. I know how they won. It was defense, but they shot 28%, something like that, 29% from the field. And 52% from the free throw line. They went 11-21 from the free throw line. So offense still a lot to be desired for this Tennessee team, but defensively they're as good as it gets. And we will see if they're able to slow down this very good offensive group from Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's been over 80 points in every game this season. It's been over 103 times. It's been over 95 without reaching 100 two more times. Tennessee, the point totals against the Vols lately have been unbelievable. Let's go backwards. 53 to Maryland, 49 to Eastern Kentucky, 40 to Alcorn State, 40 to McNeese State, 50 to Kansas. That's unbelievably impressive. 66 to Southern Cal. That was an overtime. 45 to Butler. 50 to Florida Gulf Coast, 66 to Colorado, and 43 to Texas Tech. Let's shift gears here for a minute because I think one of the big things is can Tennessee hit shots? And Santiago Vescovi has not been himself. There's been the shoulder thing. I don't know what the prognosis is there heading into this one, but I'm looking at effective field goal percentages for some of the key players. Julian Phillips, 38%. Zakai Ziegler, 43%. Santiago Vescovi, 45%. Jamal Mashak, 41%. Again, look, Tennessee is winning games and winning them impressively because nobody is scoring on them. But my concern for the Vols is this is a game on the road. You would think Arizona would get a little bit of a favorable whistle because that's usually what happens in someone else's arena. And I do worry about Tennessee's ability to make enough buckets to keep up with Arizona.
Well, the problem becomes if Arizona, which I think they're going to crack Tennessee's defense at some point in the game. And it's, if Arizona goes on a big run, can you trust Tennessee to find their own offense to have that same kind of run, right? And I think that's where, to me, is one of the biggest questions of this game is just that would be my concern is I don't, I know we said we can look at the Tennessee beat Kansas held to 50 points. I find it hard to believe Tennessee's going to hold Arizona to 50 points or, anywhere in that range. I just think that Arizona is good enough offensively to do some things even against a very, very talented team that can do a lot of things defensively. I just think Arizona will find offense somehow, some way, because I just think that they've got a group that is proven to be able to do that, right? And they've got multiple options. I mean, they've got, Tubelis is averaging 20 a game. Ballo, 18 a game. All those different guys. And so I think when you look at it from that standpoint, there's just so many guys, so many options for Arizona. And I feel like Tennessee has been really good at certainly shutting down some of these teams they should shut down. But then again, like we said, look at a Kansas team that I still think, there's good offense for Kansas, but we know too kind of who the driving force is there with Jalen Wilson. And I think he had his lowest point total of the season, right? So I just, that's my concern here. Let me just flat out say it. Like my concern is that I don't trust Tennessee enough offensively. If this game gets to the point to where I just think Arizona is going to score, I don't think Tennessee holds this team down to that lower type number. Could be completely wrong here. Maybe Tennessee proves us wrong, and they are just so dominant on that side of the floor, which to this point they have been at times. And maybe they can find that same formula here. But I think on the road, look at some of these games too, right? Like they've been in neutral court environments where, shooting's not always, it can be an adjustment for some teams when you get into these neutral court games and such. But this is Arizona on their home floor, very comfortable there in terms of what they can do offensively. And I think when you look at it in that regard, um, yeah, when push comes to shove, I think I would probably lean towards Arizona's offense here to be able to find a way to get some things done.
Well, what Tennessee does to generate offense, it's number 2 in the country in offensive rebound percentage, and it gets to the foul line a lot. It's 16th in free throws to field goals. Arizona, good but not great in both those categories. So just going to throw that out there. And before we talk about the other side of the ball quickly, a shout out to our presenting sponsor, Stakes. Predict sports better than the crowd. For a chance to win NFTs with Stakes, players can submit their sports predictions against friends, other fans, and influencers forever. Don't let your sports genius go overlooked. Join Stakes and have the best predictions captured in the moment. Go to playwithstakes.com/14. User invite code Southeastern14 for a double welcome bonus. Okay. What other aspects of the matchup that we haven't hit that are worth discussing? I mean, inside Arizona's offense, here's how they get it done. Number 1 in the country in effective field goal percentage, number 1 in 2-point percentage, which Tennessee is 9th in defending that. Arizona shoots free throws well, but not exceptionally well, 72% from the line. I'm going into this, I'm always thinking foul trouble is a thing that you worry about, especially if you're Tennessee and on the road. But Tennessee's done a pretty good job at staying out of foul trouble. Tennessee is 346 in the country, and that's in a good way. In other words, it's one of the best teams in the country. It's staying out of foul trouble according to two-foul participation. So what else stands out to you in this matchup that maybe we haven't gotten into?
Well, there's a couple of things. For one, we don't know if Josiah Jordan James is going to play or not. I mean, obviously the injury is still there. He didn't play in the last game. He's really, I mean, what he's really only played a little bit past month, I guess. He's only played in 2 games and was kind of on a snap count, I guess you could say, in those. So I think just the unknowns there still, and I know Tennessee's won games without him, right? But I'm going to keep bringing him up
He's
because
only
he's
played
good.
100 minutes
And
all year, which to me that makes it really all the more impressive what they've done.
right, and but I don't want anyone to start saying, "Well, we're better without him." Please don't
Yeah,
go that route because
no.
I don't think that's true. I think yes, they have been good enough to win some games without him, but I still think he is a very good player, and they need him on the floor in the long term to be able to get where they want to get. So maybe he doesn't play here. Maybe it's you're still continue to be kind of cautious with that. So I think that's something to look at, and that's where you know other guys are gonna have to step up like they have to this point. And I think specifically who steps up in this game, Arizona is huge.
Mhm.
We talked about it. Like, Ballo is 7 foot, Tubelis is 6'11". What do you do with those two guys, right? Because they are averaging 20 and 18 points each, respectively. How do you kind of go about, stopping what they can bring to the table? And I think that's where, again, Tennessee has options, whether it's, Kamwa, Adu, Plavsic. I mean, look, Adu didn't play the last game too. I think that was an illness thing. So I don't, again, I guess he plays in this game, but that's where I think, big guys are going to get some minutes in this game because otherwise, when you're looking out there and you're looking at the starting lineup for, Arizona and you see the combination of 6'11" and 7 foot into Bellis and Ballo, um, you got to figure that out somehow, right? And so I think that's a very significant part of this matchup. And so I think that's a big part of it is with Tennessee defending and being able to defend those kind of guys. But then, oh, look, right? Like look on the outside where you've got Creasa, you've got Ramey, those guys too. And we know what they bring to the table. Those are double digit scorers who can kind of go off at any point. Same with Larson. Um, Arizona's just got a lot of options. And that would probably be my biggest concern for Tennessee is yes, they've done a really good job, defensively against a lot of teams this year. But you know what? I look at some of those teams and man, like I this is the best offensive team they face. How else do we say it, right? Like this
The
is
best
this is
offensive team anybody's faced.
well, yeah, but I think specifically if you're looking at it matchup wise and you're trying to find a comparison, Kansas is the closest just in terms of, they have Jalen
Yeah.
Wilson, they have, Dick, they have all those guys that can score. But I think this is a different beast in terms of just how they can score and how they play. As fast as they get up and down the floor, it's just constant, movement in terms of just what they can do offensively. And so I think it's a real big test for Tennessee here. And I probably, you probably already guessed it in terms of how we talked about this game, but I think the offense wins out over the defense here because I think that my issue becomes Tennessee offensively. I still don't trust them. And I think, yes, I give them credit for winning the game against Maryland, but man, if you watch the second half and you just kind of see those gaps still exist offensively. And this is the game that worries me the most in that regard because I know how good Arizona can be offensively. And I don't just think you can come out and just shut Arizona down completely. Even as good as Tennessee is defensively, I think that's going to be a challenge, especially in a true road game in that spot. So I'm going to pick Arizona here. I feel like I'm like, everybody kind of, I think sometimes refers to me as the SEC homer, but I'm like picking against the SEC a lot, I think, in some of these games this weekend because
Yeah.
matchup wise, it just looks like ones that feel pretty tough for some of these teams. And I just think Arizona at home probably finds a way to score enough points here, even if it's not 100. I think they probably find a way to score a few more than Tennessee.
Before I give you my pick, if you don't like betting $11 to win 10, BROTHROW is the place for you. It lets you bet on all 50 states because it's not the house. Bettors have a fair chance at winning. It's the only sports betting platform that doesn't take a cut of every bet. No deposit money, no minimum bets, no need to connect your bank account. Bettors pay each other directly. It's a hassle-free sign-up process that lets you get in the action in seconds. Go to brothrow.com/SE14. You can see that on the ticker below and in the video description. With that said, I'm with you, Blake. I think the combination of being away, having scoring droughts.
First true road game this year for Tennessee, too. Let's keep that in mind.
Okay. I did not know that. You got those two things and you got health. I just don't think Tennessee is good as Tennessee. And this is where, if you're a Tennessee fan, you get a little excited. There's a lot that's not going your way with health, with guys not shooting the ball well in certain circumstances. And again, with Vescovy, some of that's probably been injury related, but just a tough spot, I think, for Tennessee, all the factors considered. Ken Palm has got this as Arizona favored, I think, by 4 or 5.
It's a point.
I'm sorry. It's a point. You're right. I thought it was more than that. And let's see. Bart Torvik has got this same thing. Tennessee favored by a point here. Or excuse me, Arizona favored by a point here. So the computers think of the same thing. We don't have a line as we do this, but that's what they are saying. Anyway, for Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 14. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our content. We'll see you again soon.